Hi and welcome back to another Rust base build. Now today we have a bunker, but I have tried to disguise the fact that it is actually a bunker. Now a lot of bunkers are quite easy to tell because of roof PCs and people using half walls or checking foundations to make sure the stability shows as an actual foundation and not a wall that's disguising a foundation. Now by using dips in the land, I've basically built a room within the actual base itself which hides the fact that it's a bunker. Now it uses the stability method, widely used by a lot of people. You can see inside I've kept it really basic because when people get into this area I don't really want them to get anything. That's the beauty of what I'm trying to create here. Now as you go into this section, because we've used stability, we have the half wall and twig, you can't shoot this out from above with explosive ammo. I've tried and a flamethrower doesn't work. Inside you have 4 boxes, a bag and a TC. Now with this base you can build up and expand from it as well if you get a decent piece of land, because you can keep taking the actual foundations up. Now for the amount of HQM this actually takes for upkeep is extremely low. The biggest thing for me with bunkers, they can get ridiculously silly. This is the only piece you'll need armoured. Later on I'll show you how much it costs if you were to armour the foundations as well, because obviously that will alter how much it is, but you'll be surprised how much it actually is. Now if you expand from this base and just have this section as your high quality metal area, 7 HQM is not a lot. Now people don't tend to really stay on servers too long. People jump from server to server. Wipes last shorter now, only a week, so 7 HQM is brilliant because you do not have to sit and farm for hours upon end. Now I fell into a trap recently of having 100 HQM on a vanilla server upkeep, and it just ruined the game for me because you were constantly having to farm. As you can see, you can expand from this easily. Now I'll jump into the base build itself, show you how it's done. As I said, it's extremely easy, you just have to find the right dip to do it. Now as I said, because we're using the land to build this in the room or secret room down below, you have to find a dip in the land, have 3 triangles that are very low and have 3 basically at half height, so you're making a hexagon to start with. You will not have a starter base for this, so you may have to have a 1x1 close by and just take it from there. Now round outside I am using B grade, so you'll see everything in stone, but I will finish with the actual shape you need to have the phase 1 of the base complete. Now as I said, because there's no starter base, have a 1x1 close by and just keep building it up until you find a piece of land. In a high populated server this may be difficult, I'm not going to lie, it could be tricky. You just have to grin and bear it and just keep going if you want this sort of base in place. Now personally I think it's worth it because the upkeep is so low, and using triangles is a lot stronger than squares because you can get more in a footprint than you can squares. Now the final footprint for phase 1 is practically complete. You just want a star. That's as simple as that. Now we will put triangles in between these just to strengthen it up. However, for the time being we'll keep it this, so it's done in sections. This is what you're aiming for. So you want basically a full height room to the left and a half height room to the right. This will allow you to put a TC and a bag in and your boxes. Now I'm not going to mess around doing the perfect placement of boxes etc. It's just to give you a basic idea of how it's going to be. Now important, you're going to have a solid wall here. That will not be taken away. That will allow the stability for the floor to break away from the twig we put it in place. Now if you don't know how stability works, stability allows you to build certain things in place. You can see here, if I put another wall in and cover this up, when I take away that second door frame nothing will drop, so it holds it all in place. As soon as this comes away it opens that up, so you could use a door frame and twig downstairs or just go for the half wall. It's completely up to you, but you cannot put any other wall down the bottom and stone it up or it will affect the actual stability. You can only have the first half wall that we've put in place. Very important, a mistake that can easily be made and it will just destroy the rest of the base for you because you can't get that stability for it to drop. Now from there it's really up to you how you do the rest of the base. Now for example I will show you the honeycomb. I like to try and use honeycomb instead of just having it as an empty space by putting furnaces in. I've put a lot of my bases, I just think it's a lot better. Put the half wall and small wall to the bottom. It just utilises that space and lets you actually use it rather than just wasting them for what's there. Now above you can put doors, walls, whatever you want in place. It's completely up to you. It will not affect the stability below. So you get free reign of how you want to do this. Now as I said, I like to put furnaces in because I like to utilise the space that's there. Some people do it, some people don't, but I would metal these up because if someone comes through the honeycomb to the side thinking they can take a wall out, they're going to be presented with metal. Now yes, they can fire rockets down, but they're going to have to take out the metal as well, so it slows them down. Now the 15 rockets comes from the 2 foundations being metal, 8 apiece, that's 16, or someone comes through the doors, if you get garage doors, then comes to an armoured floor, you're then looking at 16 again. So for the very small cost of what this is, it honestly is extremely strong. Now the fact you can expand from it very easily as well makes it a very durable base and one it's worthwhile doing. Now using this room as just an example, you can play around with any sort of space that you find a dip. You may find larger ones, you may find smaller ones. The only thing I would recommend is do it all in twig first for the bottom of your base where your room's going to be, because you're going to have to plan it out properly. If you don't plan it out properly, you're going to find yourself at a later stage struggling to make sure your stability is in place. Stability is key. Anytime you put a wall in place, the stability is going to be compromised for what you want. Now for the floor, as I said, you're going to armour this piece up. This is the only bit you're going to do. Do it in metal if you're very early on and don't have the HQM, or if you want to use the HQM for something else. Again, it's still going to be quite a lot to get through very early game, but you want to try and get this up to high quality metal as soon as you can. Get it to armour, don't mess around. I would definitely do the foundations in metal, the inner ones and the outer. This just adds to it. Now there's not a lot of upkeep for the metal either. All the numbers will be in the description below, you can see it, but bear in mind it's how you build the base. If you want to have full stone, it's going to affect the upkeep and the raid count. Always bear that in mind. Now if you come through the roof straight down, again you're having to go through metal, because we're going to metal the top triangles up, then through armoured. So again, it's probably the most costly is going through the roof, if anything. Now outside you're going to have to do all the foundations. This just stops people from wiping straight in. I would do these in metal as soon as you can. It will save you dividends in the end, because as soon as you take one foundation of the inners out, it will open up the actual bunker itself. Now as I always say, you're always going to get raided. There's always going to be someone bigger, someone who's got more resource. The trick is to slow them down as long as possible. The more they have to work, the better chance there is someone's going to counter, probably either finish the raid or take away all the stuff they have to go and do the raid that they wanted to do. So slowing them down is key in Rust. As I said, if you play modded, this probably wouldn't make a difference to the base that you're doing. If you're playing a 10-time server, it doesn't really matter. This is more for a vanilla because of the costs and the raid counts. All the bases I do are mainly for vanilla servers. I don't play modded, so I think it's hard to try and gauge what a modded server base would look like, because it's so easy to actually get the resources. So in principle, that is the base itself. As I said, the inside is up to you how you put everything in. Make it look more of a base if you wish. For me personally, I didn't see the point. I just wanted to try and make sure that it was going to be strong, hold enough stuff and expandable, and I truly think that this has definitely ticked all the boxes. Now I do know people don't like having triangle centre bases because your loot rooms aren't as effective, but you can do them in a way. There's, I think 𝗕𝗏𝗏 done a loot room video last year showing different ways of doing loot rooms. It might be worth checking that out. But for me, as long as it's secure, I'm more happy. Now I'll do it all the inner foundations and armoured. They'll just give you an idea how much it's going to cost with all them in armoured as well. Now you can't see that's armoured from outside, so if someone does rocket through it, they're not going to get a lot from it. Now you come to TC, you can see it's still very cheap. Very cheap indeed. It's not a lot. So guys, I'll leave it there. I'll pan round, let you see it for one last time. That is my expandable bunker.
I go la 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 la.